Hi everyone, it's Lindsay right here coming to you with another video. In my previous video, I talked about college. This week, I'm going to shift my focus to the career world and specifically to what I'm doing. Now, today, you guessed it, I'm actually going to be talking about teaching. Now, unlike what I thought would happen after my credential program, I actually didn't land a full-time teaching job. I looked high and low, I interviewed everywhere, but it wasn't God's will for me to have a full-time teaching position. So instead, I decided to go into substitute teaching. And these are some tips to help you if you are a substitute teacher or if you're a teacher in general. Some of these apply, not all of them do, but most of them do apply. So buckle up and let's get right into it. Tip number 1, plan the night before. My district that I'm subbing for has a sub portal, and teachers post sub jobs the night before. And the portal basically tells me what the job is, where it's located, and what time I need to be there. Securing a job the night before allows me to do 2 things. Number 1, tells me where the school is, so I know how long it will take me to get there in the morning. And number 2, it tells me what time I need to get up. If a job starts at 7:30 and it's 30 minutes from my house, I like to get up at least an hour before I have to commute to work so I can be professionally dressed and ready for my day. So that is very helpful. If you wait until the morning of, which sometimes you unfortunately do, get caught in that situation, you're not as prepared and you don't know where you're going and how long it will take to get there. And so it's a giant surprise. Tip number 2, get there early. I cannot emphasize this enough. Get there with at least 30 to 35 minutes, depending on the grade level. If it's K through 2, you're going to need to be there super early in order to plan for not just curriculum, but for transitions, because you'll be working for maybe 10 minutes, and then you got to bring the kids to the table or to the rug. You got to prepare for those transitions. In addition, getting there allows you to check in, put your lunch in the fridge, use the restroom, find the classroom, and find the sub-plan, read it over. These are all important things. And if you are rushing, that's not good. Also, anytime that I've subbed in elementary, there is a chance of getting duty, yard duty, crosswalk duty, sidewalk duty, gate duty, I don't care what you call it, playground duty. You may have to be supervising students for 10 to 20 minutes before subbing begins. If you get there right at 7:30, let's say school starts at 7:30, but your duty starts at 7:50, that's only 20 minutes to look over your sub plans. And if your teacher leaves a detailed sub plan, then that makes it kind of tricky to have a successful day as a sub. That leads me to tip number 3. Please don't look over the sub plan all at once. I did this when I first started, and I found myself struggling to keep up with the class because I kept forgetting what's next. Here's what I recommend you do. Get to school and look over the sub plan from the opening of the day until recess. Just focus on that segment. What's the best way I can teach this? How can I be fully prepared? Then when recess comes, look at the subplan from after recess to lunch. Look at that increment of the subplan. If you focus on small bites like this, it allows you to get more done and to understand the subplan better. Are you going to understand everything? No. Unless you've been teaching for a long time, no. And even with me, I have a teaching credential, I don't understand everything because I haven't been going through the curriculum with the students. There are some math concepts I may not understand, and that's why it's important to just kind of take it a piece at a time. Tip number 4, take care of yourself. This is a tip I like to give often with any type of advice, but especially when it comes to substitute teaching. One thing that you may not anticipate as a sub is the need to use the restroom, to drink water, and to eat. What do I mean by this? Well, as a teacher or substitute teacher, you are not allowed to leave children unsupervised. You have to go a few hours before a break. And so I would advise you to take care of business when you get to school, during recess, lunch, and even at the end of the day. What does this mean? I'm talking the restroom, I'm talking eating, and I'm talking drinking a ton of water. I'm not trying to recommend dehydration, but I am recommending that you be smart about how much water you drink during your subbing. Tip 5, be personable, friendly, but not too personal with students. So 3 things I really like to do with students to kind of build rapport and respect in my subbing. The first is I like to stand by the door, greet every single student, even if I don't know their name, just hi, how's it going? Good morning, welcome to class. A smile goes a long way. I like to write my name on the board, and then I like to tell students one fact about myself. It just really helps them to know that there's not a stranger in the room and that I'm a friendly sub and I'm there for them. The second thing I like to do is establish classroom management. So I either follow the classroom management that the teacher has set up or I create my own. And the way I do this is I write out some blanks. Could be like the word beach, and I write out 5 blanks. And if we get through something as a class, I fill in a letter. If the class overall is disrespecting me, then I erase a letter. If the students get all letters by the end of the day, they get a special reward. Which kind of leads into the third thing I like to do. The third thing I like to do is a little reward at the end of the day for students who are really following directions well. For grades 3 through 6, I like to give a mechanical pencil, something that they can keep forever. And then for grades 2nd and below, I like to give stickers. Because honestly, what kid doesn't like stickers? Another additional thing that I like to do is a Q&A session. So question and answer with the teacher. So before a break, if I have like 15 to 10 extra minutes, I like to pull students aside, the whole class, and I have them write questions on their whiteboard. Any question that they want to ask me. Now, I obviously set guidelines. It has to be school appropriate, can't be too personal, and it has to be a question. It can't be like 9 times 9 is 81. Could turn it into a question. What is 9 times 9? They could ask that, but it has to be a question, and it allows students to get in writing practice. It allows them to practice interpersonal listening skills because when a student poses a question, I have the whole class looking at that student, and then it allows them to get to know me better. So it's a win-win situation. Tip 6, be friendly. So you are not just having to be friendly with students as a substitute. Oh no, you got to be friendly with teachers, administrators, and parents if you see any. Now, this will pay off in the future because if you're like me, you want to be in a classroom full-time, but you just haven't gotten the opportunity to be hired full-time yet. And so by being friendly towards staff, this gives them a good impression of you. One thing that I like to do anytime I go into the staff lounge is I like to take my business card with me. I have this business card on hand, so if teachers are talking about, oh, I need a sub for this and this and this, or they ask me questions about, oh, where did you go to school and do you have your teaching credential, I can just hand them my business card. And I always like to visit the principal at the end of the day as well. That way he or she has my business card as well, because you never know how those connections might pay off in the future. Trust me, you never know, but they do. I can assure you that they do. and you will get hired much quicker. I know this from talking to dozens of other teachers. If you are friendly, personable, and you use subbing to network. Tip 7, write a detailed description of your day. Now, we're getting towards the end of the sub job. When the students leave for the day, make sure that you grab a piece of paper or take a template off of somewhere like TPT, which is Teachers Pay Teachers, and write a detailed note of how your day went for the teacher. Be sure to include the students who did well, the students who were problems, and any absent students. Put your name, put the date, put your contact info, and then write up a detailed summary. This just helps the teacher to know what got done, what didn't get done. Also, you should leave all of the work that students have completed, worksheets, whatever it is, homework, underneath that report. So leave everything in one place, which kind of ties into my 8th tip. Clean the classroom. And leave it better than you found it. Teachers appreciate this. Sharpen some pencils, pick up stuff off the ground, even stuff that may not even be necessary. It makes a huge difference to a teacher to come back to a room that looks just the way it was, as opposed to a room that's an utter disaster. Trust me. Tip 8, plan to clean up as you go along. As a substitute, you're going to have stuff that keeps coming on your desk, whether it's student work or pencils that have been sharpened. It is most important to clean as you go along. The reason this helps is that you have less stuff to clean up at the end of the day. For example, I was in a 2nd grade classroom. This was near the beginning of my sub experience, and I did not clean until 2:30, and I spent nearly 35 minutes cleaning up the classroom. Contrast that with a recent assignment I did in 1st grade, where I cleaned at recess, at lunch, and at the end of the day, and I was out of there in 10 minutes. It makes a difference. So if you remember one thing about keeping things tidy in the classroom, it's to clean as you go along. Tip 9, remember you're human, and remember that this won't last forever. In my situation, it has been incredibly humbling to be a substitute teacher when I thought that I would be teaching already with a credential. I just have to remind myself that I need to do my best and that this won't last forever. It kind of reminds me of a truth that Jesus has told us in the Bible. And I want to share it with you because this is something God has been teaching me. So just as the classrooms that I walk into are not my home, they're not my job, not my permanent space, I'm a temporary visitor, so is this world for us Christians. We're in the world, but not of the world. And so I want to read a passage from Philippians. It's chapter 3, verse 20. And it says, "But our citizenship is in heaven, and we eagerly await a Savior from there, the Lord Jesus Christ, who by the power that enables him to bring everything under his control will transform our lowly bodies so that they will be like his glorious body." So the important thing to remember is that everything is temporary, including this sub job. So if you want to be a teacher, great, this will be temporary. If you want to be a sub, even that is temporary. Ultimately, we're just passing through this world, and our goal is just to be the best example to other people we can be. We should love our students, love our neighbors as Christ would. I hope you're encouraged by this, and yeah, that's what I have to say about subbing.